LeJeune. I'll just explain this because it takes people a few minutes to jump on anyway. So
behind the scenes.
let me say hello to the people who are getting on. Hi, everybody. Give us just a second here. LeJeune is trying to navigate getting onto the meeting. So we'll be right with you as people are jumping on anyway. It takes a few minutes.
So I've been meaning to stop by your place or visit, you know, check you out and just check it out.
Yeah, me too.
So
One
yeah,
of these days I'll stop in.
yeah, come by.
You need, here's,
Somebody coming on.
here's what I'm gonna do, LeJeune. I'm gonna hang up and let you try. Keep trying, because if we're talking on the phone, maybe that's impacting it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye.
You gotta lean closer.
Shoot.
Oh,
So
That actually is the first time out of 9 or 10 of these now that's really happened beyond, you know, gone beyond the time when the webinar starts. So my apologies. LeJeune is trying to log in, and welcome to those of you who have jumped on to join us. We're happy to have you here. And so we're just gonna do some brief introductions, and then we'll kind of segue into the conversation part. So welcome to Millicent Unplugged at the Millicent Rogers Museum. We are located on original lands of Tiwa speaking people, known today as the Red Willow people of Taos Pueblo. We strive to deepen our relationship with the Red Willow people through collaboration while acknowledging and honoring the complex history of the Red Willow people, past, present, and future. We express gratitude to this land and to the Taos Pueblo elders and ancestors who have stewarded this land since time immemorial. Tonight's topic is rings on your fingers, jewelry, rare and regional. The regional artistic expressions within the genre of Southwest jewelry are as varied as the individual artists. This conversation is about not only Southwest jewelry, but a shared admiration, stories of inspiration, along with family traditions, intersections of land and people, tools even. Though Millicent collected Southwest jewelry, she also designed jewelry and was inspired by the land and the artists of her time. Our guests inspire artistry and excellence within and beyond individual spheres of influence. I'm pleased to welcome our guests. So hopefully LeJeune will get on, but we'll welcome her anyway, and we'll see what happens. From Santo Domingo, Pueblo, Joe and LeJeune Chavez, and then David Anderson from Arroyo Seco, Lyle and Islin Wright from Taos Pueblo. And we like to call Islin Izzy. Sorry, Izzy, I'm gonna slip up and just be not that formal, right?
that's all right.
Much gratitude to my friend and volunteer moderator, Sara Frances, award-winning photographer and author of Fragments of Spirit, a beautiful compilation of photos, prose, and poetry. This program is best viewed in gallery view, located in the upper right corner of your Zoom screen. Feel free to use the chat feature as well as the Q&A feature. The chat feature allows for the audience to participate in the discussion in the moment, whereas the questions submitted through Q&A will be discussed during the last 15 minutes. And please type hello into the chat if you choose, and let us know where you're from. I'm going to shift it over to you, Sara, but first I have to embarrass you a little bit. Sara is having a birthday today. So I'll pretend we all already sang, and we'll just sing the end part. Happy birthday, dear Sara. Happy birthday to you. Okay, there you go, my lady.
Well, thank you all. That is most kind and most generous. And thank you for marking what, you know, I like to say that I get smarter on the years. And part of it is because of meeting all of you folks and being able to learn something of the culture. And I will have to admit that I treated myself to a beautiful cabochon Bruto turquoise bracelet for my birthday. And so, yes, and of course that matches these, which I've had for some time. And so, yes, and if I can, may I echo one small thing of what Karen has to say about the territory and the land, because of course I was introduced to northern New Mexico and people by my parents in the late 50s, and on and off from then until now, I've had the privilege and the delight of coming to the land, getting to know more and more people and artisans, and to participate in what manner I can with the cultures and learning from people I meet. So thank you all. And so to start our discussion, David, I need to start with you because of your gracious family who brought the building, the early building of the museum, to our delight in the collection. And won't you, I'm sure most people don't know about it. Tell us the year and just a couple sentences about how this came to be.
The year, well, I believe it was, let's see, well, my grandfather built this house in the 40s, in the 1940s, and lived here for a long time. Then he decided to move and go to California, and he donated the house. See, I was 7 years old, like 1968, something like that. He donated the house to Paul Peralta Ramos to be used as the museum. My grandfather, Claude, he knew Millicent. He knew a lot of the artists around town and was very heavily influenced by art. And I don't know what went on in his mind when he decided to donate this as a museum, but I'm really glad he did.
Well, we thank you and we thank him. And of course, we think back to Millicent and our topic tonight being jewelry, because of course that was one of the things that she did in her early art career in France. And then behind me, of course, is one of the running stars. That's of course a very large piece outside the museum, but you know, there are small reproductions that are now available, and they are absolutely as fresh and modern now as they were back when she was a designer. And so one of the things that means a lot to me is this heritage that comes through the jewelry and the designs, which somehow it's a little different than pottery. It's a little different than beautiful rugs, because we see so much more of the individual who's bringing things together. And I think, Lyle, that's one of the things I admire in you. And of course, your community service is without question to the other artisans here. Where did you start? Did you have a heritage just like Izzy has from you?
Actually, I did. When I was in high school, my brother and a gentleman that taught him were working on concho belts, which were supplying the Buffalo Dancer here in the plaza. And they hired me because they needed help. You know, they were producing tons of belts at that time. So that's where I got my skills from, is concho belts. You know, we were mass producing those things. We were, you know, you handmade, stamping, stones, the leather, everything was, you know, even the link belts we were making. And, you know, that's where I got my, you know, my skill from, is making that thing so many times over and over and over and over. You know, you get used to it and you get faster at different things. And, you know, I just kind of moved on to other things and made it, you know, so that's where I got my skill, was back in 94, 95.
That's really interesting that you started out with something that was artistic but repetitive, and that honed the skill of using the tools, and then that was a springboard, a foundation for you to move on. And Izzy, what do you see the same thing as you work following your father's footsteps? Is that true too for you?
Yeah, I see a lot of the same process. It's not like repetitive, but in a way it is. But you know, you produce these items and they come out slightly different, but it is the same kind of technique. And you do get the process down a lot more when it is just a constant, you know, production like that.
Yeah, well, you got to learn the skill somehow. Nobody started out as the consummate artisan. You may have it in the head, which obviously you did. I assume that it is heritage right from the beginning. But I think all of us have felt like we got something passed on, and honoring the parents and the grandparents, the heritage here. But now, David, your evolution is quite different, and even though you're taking things from traditional Native American, but you're bringing some different sorts of inspiration. Where do you get yours in what you're working with?
Everywhere. You know, my first inspiration was actually coming to this museum and putting my nose on the windows, looking at the old Navajo stump that had all the tools on it. I just was intrigued. You know, at 7 years old or 8 years old or whatever, I couldn't take my eyes off it. I always wondered what that was and how it was done. And I did not realize how important that one moment was until 20 years later. But yeah, I went to UNM in that stump and all the tools. It's like, oh yeah, that is so familiar. And that stump has so much history in it. You know, I just saw something last year, you know, you start looking at the stump and all of a sudden you see something in this piece of wood that's, I don't know how old it is, 100 years old, but it's like somebody was testing their stamps on a stump. It's like, wow, you could see that. Just one little split second of emotion into the stump and you can see, like, you know, what goes on. Your tools are really important to you. One of the things that when I was learning making jewelry at UNM in Albuquerque, I stayed away from turquoise. And man, now I realize that was the stupidest thing I could ever done. But you know, I just, you know, hey, there's so many other people that do turquoise so much better. But now I'm learning a lot more about turquoise, and you know, turquoise in this neck of the woods is really huge, and there's so much to know about turquoise and what mines are here, and there's so many mines that come in and go out, and you know, turquoise from a mine is a limited quantity, so you can get really good turquoise from one mine and really bad turquoise from another mine. You know, it's running out. So turquoise, the price of turquoise is skyrocketing because it's rare and it's beautiful stuff.
I have to admit, I'm partial to turquoise. My husband, for a long time in his medical career, was in Bisbee. And of course, when the big mines were working. And so that's kind of where I began to get my, got to have a little bit of this bling. Oh, and welcome to LeJeune. And look at what she's got on. Does that make your mouth water? Oh,
thank you. Sorry, I had a little problem logging on, but I think I finally figured it out.
I have to say something here. So LeJeune and I have been navigating through the chat, trying to figure this out, and I've been sending her links. Finally, here's what happened. So I learned a new skill. I went into the attendee list and I picked her and I promoted her to panelist.
Oh,
Yay.
thank you.
So we're so happy to see you guys.
And Mr. Joe behind.
Hi.
Now, it is
Well, let's
not
introduce.
appropriate to think that Joe is behind always, though you know there is a certain girl thing in the throne. Nevertheless, he is a very fine artist in his own right.
Yes.
Let's make some introductions here. So LeJeune and Joe, David Anderson, Lyle Wright, and his son Islin Wright.
Hi,
Hi.
nice to meet you all.
I'm Karen in person, so lovely to see you. And of course, Sarah.
Nice to see you. Hi, Sarah.
Howdy.
Okay.
Well, this is lovely. So, you know, we just have to know. Tell us about your dragonfly necklace.
Well, I just recently finished this piece. This will be one that I will be showing at the Santa Fe Indian Market. It is all inlaid. I hand cut and shaped all these turquoise beads by hand, and then I inlaid all the dragonflies, the 3 dragonflies. So it took me almost a full month to finish this piece, and my fingers are happy I'm finished with it.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, so much of your personal signature is the extraordinary medallions, the beadwork. So
Yes.
it's not beads, though.
No, I'll tell you why, because, well, I brought a piece to show. It's okay. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm LeJeune Chavez from Santo Domingo, Pueblo, and my husband, Joe Chavez.
Hi.
From here in Santo Domingo. I grew up as a young girl. I used to cut stones and drill he-she for my parents. But I always had this interest in beadwork. That was my passion. And I taught myself to do the seed beading. And so for years and years, that's what I did. I did seed beading. And Joe, my husband, he's a silversmith. He's a very good silversmith. And he can tell him, you know, talk about what he does after I'm through. But anyway, this was 2020. I had a dream of it was a dream at Chaco Canyon. And my ancestors not coming right out and saying it, but I knew what they meant by the way they said it and their hand gestures and all that. I knew what they meant was for me to get back into doing this kind of work. So the next day I went out to the shop and I asked Joe if he could help me with his lapidary equipment, show me how to cut stones, and he did. And from that time on, I've been on a roll with doing the more traditional Santo Domingo style work. And I just finished this inlaid cuff too.
Oh, well, that's lovely.
Oh,
And I like
beautiful.
the irregularity of it and the different stones that brings a bit of the tradition and then a bit of contemporary.
Yes.
And that's of course something that I prize. I hope you don't sell that necklace, because that is, I mean, that is so gorgeous. How could you ever part with that?
Well, you know, a while ago I put it on because I wanted to wear it for the show, and I was like, wow.
LeJeune, Tippy wants you to hold it closer to the camera.
The necklace?
Your bracelet.
Yeah, bring your necklace if you can, or even take it off so that you can see some of the how the inlay is.
The cuff. Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
And so
Thank
the beads are brutto, and then you have the carved and set pieces. And the little dragonflies, they look like they're fluttering because they have, well, the ends of their little wings.
Yeah, they
I
are.
mean, this is totally cute.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So,
How big it is. This is great.
I'm not sure how long it is. I'm about Over 30
30,
inches,
30,
maybe
yeah.
about 30 inches.
Close to it, yeah.
This is the piece.
Yeah, for the whole piece. And I used, well, of course, the turquoise, the black. This is black jade. It's not jet. This is jade. And the red is Mediterranean coral that I used on this piece. And
Well, it's bound to take some notice. If I
you.
may, Lyle, do you do any
Fine,
great long necklaces as well, or what is? I'm not familiar with your signature pieces. Where does your
I used
taste
to
lie?
I used to do the same, you know, drill my own turquoise and beads and stuff, but I got more into the silver, like cabochons, making caps and the silver. I got more into the silver, the jewelry, the rings and the bracelets and stuff. And you know, because it took me too longer for me to produce. It does. It takes a while, and then my fingers too, like she said. It, you know,
Yeah.
so, you know, I figured
So
start making cabs instead, and then do more of the jewelry.
yeah.
It takes
So
a-
that's what Joe does. He cuts his own stones too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, my name is Joe Chavez, and I'm from here in Santo Domingo, Pueblo. And I grew up in the jewelry business. My father was a silversmith that I used to do all his polishing. So when I taught myself how to make jewelry, silver jewelry, the polishing bit, I didn't have to worry about it. I had that down pat. But I specialize in doing a lot of cutout techniques, overlay. So, and I also make a lot of my own hand silver beads, stamp designs that LeJeune's carrying our
Yes,
collaboration piece.
Those are
That
nice.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
that's
nice.
beautiful. So you made the pearls, and then it's her beadwork.
Yes,
Aha.
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's set in overlay.
Lot of-
Izzy, can you talk a little bit about your designs? Because people may not know this, but Izzy really likes rings and he designs rings, and that actually had nothing to do with the name of this program. It just kind of resonated once Izzy agreed to be on here. Are you wearing any of them?
Yeah, I have a few on.
Yeah, you do.
I
He-
know.
So people are chatting in. They really want to see all the panelists' jewelry.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that
Maybe if you're gonna bring
turquoise
them, you
ring,
can-
I think that it would be nice to go with my birthday bracelet and my Santo Domingo. This, of course, is an old piece,
Right, the name.
a pawn. So yes, we will have to talk later on.
LeJeune, somebody really wanted to see the cuff that you shared earlier up close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize this is what we were going to be doing on this.
Oh, wow.
So I used various stones.
Mhm.
Again, like Joe said, you know, we cut our own stones. So when we buy our stones, they're in a rock form. We're actually in our the Chavez studio. We're in our work studio.
Yeah.
So I use different stones. There's pie-stone, there's lapis, there's Picasso marble, serpentine, spiny oyster shell, just
Wow.
various stones. And then the backing, I signed it too. My name is right there. The
Uh-huh.
backing that I use, this is buffalo horn
Oh,
underneath.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So here, Joe's going to show you some stones.
Here's several
Okay, and
pieces
Izzy had one too. Hold that up.
of the Kingman turquoise.
Wow.
This
See,
is the turquoise in the rough.
People are going to love this because so many people ask about the turquoise mines, the different kinds of turquoise,
Oh, yeah.
how you know where it comes from, how you know
Yes.
if it's authentic. So maybe you guys can talk a little about that.
Yeah. Joe
Yeah,
can
this
talk about
is gaspionite that comes out of Australia.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real nice green color of stone that I personally like working with. And this is also the number 8 out of Nevada.
That's good.
Yeah, I like to work with that a lot, you know.
Yes, it's
Some of the, you know, the
Yeah.
nice stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the older stuff is nice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. The spider web
So-
one.
The King Manessa.
Oh, that's a beauty too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the nicest things I think is the irregularity of the genuine stone. And there's a certain spirituality of that it's not perfect, that we are offering something to the land and the creator on as part of this. And well, you can tell from my preference for the not well polished, but not perfectly set. So that's where my things are. But David, we haven't heard. Do you have any pieces of your own to show here, like some rings, maybe?
I think he came empty-handed.
Let's see. I have my
There we go.
necklace.
I was gonna say too bad the store.
Oh, okay.
But, you
Now
know,
we're going to see something.
there is one thing that I reproduce all of Millicent Rogers' items in the store for sale. So all of Millicent Rogers' jewelry is reproduced by me. And here's a
Oh.
turquoise necklace with a gold clasp.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pretty.
And that has definitely has her flavor, but I'll bet you put something of yourself in all of those designs as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, you talk about Arcturus behind you as the big sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, I have studied Millicent and her jewelry and her drawings for years, and you know, every now and again she'll come up and just surprise me with something. She loved experimenting with lots of different styles and different textures and stuff. She didn't like highly polished jewelry, and so some of the things in the shop, like that Arcturus pin, you know, the jewelers before me would make these highly polished, but she didn't like highly polished. In her note, she said hammered gold, and she wanted it textured, and she wanted it hammered, and she wanted it big and chunky. And so when I'm making this stuff, sometimes she'll come up and start talking to me. And it's like, hey, you know, it'd be better like this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fun. But the thing is, you know, I've got to make these things. Each one, if I make a run of 100, each one has to be the same, you know, with slight variations. And so I actually make them with sheet silver. There was a couple of jewelers before me that used to cast them. And so in the casting process, some of the earrings one pair of earrings would be really thick and heavy, too heavy to wear. And so then, you know, you've got to standardize it. Well, when silver is, you know, $10 an ounce, you know, or $6 an ounce, that's okay. Well, all of a sudden now silver is like $20 an ounce. That's different.
Yeah, it's a different level entirely. But now your things aren't all heavy and hammered. Some of your things are very delicate and using more, I would say, diamond, other stones, where you would have a faceted gem as opposed to one of the traditional Native American stones. That's true, is it not?
Yes. You know, within the past few years, I've realized that one of my strengths is working with clients and having them come to me and say, hey, I need a new wedding ring. This is our 50th anniversary. We need something new. And so they will bring to me old heirloom diamonds or stones or something and say, hey, you know, I want a new diamond with turquoise and sugilite and, you know, whatever, opal. I just did a ring in platinum that had these people wanted a man-made diamond. So we sourced a diamond. It's a CVD diamond, which is chemical vapor deposition. That's how they make the stones. And so we purchased this diamond and made a platinum ring for it, and I inlaid it with the turquoise and opal and sugilite, and it was beautiful. Yeah, it's really fun. Just kind of working with somebody, giving them homework, say, come do some homework. What do you want? What do you like? And then come to me, and then we design it and make it. And so there's hundreds of different possibilities in each idea that comes about. And it's really fun.
And then there's people like me that I just like the search. I don't know what I want until all of a sudden I see something that's magic and something beautiful does speak to me. Now, if I may keep with you, David, for just a moment, we have a question in the chat about the antique necklace behind you, which is a very unusual squash blossom. Can you speak to that, or Karen, can you tell us about it?
So I saw the question in the chat, and I was going to ask David to get up and give me the object number, and I can get more information. It's squash blossom necklace.
Will do.
Yeah.
Okay, while you're doing that,
Oh.
Joe, won't you tell us about your bolo?
Yes, this is one of the samples of my work that I have, and it's done in overlay. It's from the Kingman of the Ithaca mine. And if you could,
Yeah, bring it closer. Everybody wants to see up tight. Oh, wow.
it's set in a handmade bezel, and if you look at it sideways, that's as thick as the stone is. I don't use any backings on my stones. My bolo tips are stamped also, and they're signed on the back. All my pieces I signed individually. And like David was saying, sometimes I get customers that want something done. The neat thing about it is they'll tell me, do your magic. So that's
Well,
I like.
that's the truth. And may I talk to father and son magic? And do you always pay attention, or is there some now and again that you want to do it one way and dad says, well, we should have done it this way? Does that ever happen?
Yeah, it happens sometimes. But it's just, you know, different artists. There's just variation between artists, you know, and he's going to see it one way and I'll be like, well, I think we should do it this way. Or, you know, it's never really, you know, too big of a deal, but yeah, we do vary on some things.
Where do you get your inspiration for things that are uniquely yours?
I would say just in the store. You know, sometimes I'll be looking at pieces that come in and they just give me inspiration just by the way they look. And, you know, I'll take that kind of design and I'll be like, well, I would have done it like this, or I would have put this stone that way, or maybe use the brighter stone or whatever, you know, just kind of make it my own look, really. But I get a lot of inspiration from the vintage jewelry in the Millicent Rogers store.
So we should say that the store itself is really a trading post and has been since there was a store at the museum, and that artisans oftentimes just show up and then they have these wonderful things that they lay out on the counter. And so you get to see a great deal of all sorts of different things. So that's a great way to pick and choose a little idea here and a little idea there, and then make it your own. And it sounds, Lyle, like you did the same thing after you spent all that time making concha belts, where it was a certain amount of repetitive work, but then you started seeing other things and saying, I think I'll do it this way.
Yeah. Yeah, I started using the material in different ways, expanding and then showing others, and just keep going. And then moving on to turquoise, like David said earlier, I wasted so much time not using turquoise as much either. I was mostly using silver at the time. And now, at those times when I was younger, back in 94 or so, some of that turquoise I could have gotten cheaper than what it is now. And I could have saving more, that's why I'm trying to teach my son now, I wasted so much time that he has now that he could be starting on and growing to bigger, have people work for him instead of us having to do what we have to, you know, teach others, have people and support our community and working together and hiring each other's, and like the gentleman said, like you guys from Santo Domingo, we do work together, like our pueblo is closed right now. And I do get customers from, I get artists from down there that come and sell their work here because there's no place open right now. So, we do tend to help each other's out in a way, even passing down
Exactly.
our children.
Well, I think all of us work in that manner because I consider my husband my greatest muse in what I do. And you gentlemen have each other to work with. And of course, Joe and LeJeune, you have, I believe from what I have seen, as close a relationship as I have with my husband in working together on pieces. And David, your wife is an extraordinary jeweler too. And we're sorry that she cannot be here today, but we honor her and the fact that we are all families working together. So what Lyle was saying about how passing on the ideas and really working technically, but also mentally with the other person is just extraordinary. And sometimes the information passes without you even saying something. Do you find that happens to you, LeJeune?
Somebody's asking to see my ring. Sorry.
Yeah, it does. Yes. So sometimes I have an idea and then, I'll bring it out to Joe and just like the father and son, said earlier, I have an idea and Joe's like, what? He'll say, well, draw it out for me, and so sometimes I kind of have to roughly, draw it out. And so, for example, like this necklace, this is our collaboration piece. Again, I did the beading and Joe handmade these sterling silver beads and it's finished in overlay. These are our signature pieces, anything with beadwork and silver together. And that's what we're known for as well, is beads on silver. So we do work together a lot on our pieces. And I call this the Santo Domingo reimagined Santo Domingo Thunderbird necklace, the Depression era Thunderbird. That's where I got this idea from.
The Depression era, is that what you said? You kind of garbled a little bit. The Depression era, is that what you said, LeJeune?
Yeah, the Depression era Thunderbird necklace, the Santo Domingo necklaces. So this was my idea, my reimagined Santo Domingo Thunderbird design in beads.
It's wonderful to bring that forward and make it current and sort of revision and make a new statement with it. It's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that the one that just won an award? Did that piece win an award recently? Do I remember?
We entered this piece in Colorado, but it didn't place.
Well, excuse me, I wasn't the judge.
Yeah.
I love
when I photographed all the pieces, I get to, of course, play with them when I'm doing my official job, and so naturally I I have the best view of all of them.
You know, I love the way LeJeune, you and Joe put your work together.
Thank you.
The beads and the overlay, it really works.
Yeah, thank you.
I
Yeah.
have zero patience for doing beadwork.
It does take a long time. I think no matter what you do, you have to have it in your heart. You really have to have it in you to want to do that type of work. And I love doing beadwork. I love doing the traditional style. I'm doing some silver work, but Joe, you know, Joe is the silversmith in the family. And, you know, with his style of work, they're traditional symbols, but with a contemporary edge to it.
Mhm.
And so people could be walking down the street, you know, and somebody will go up to and say, "Is that a Joe Chavez? I recognize his style," you know, just by his line of work.
Yes.
Well,
And-
that's a thought for Izzy for the future, because that's the big challenge for any younger artist. And of course, you know, my opinion is 10,000 hours of work is only the beginning to be a real artist. But to make your style, Izzy, that's your challenge that we're laying on to you, which is pretty heavy responsibility.
It's a lot of fun.
But I imagine, Dad, you're helping along the way, aren't you?
Yeah. Of course.
And we would be wrong if we didn't mention also, Lyle, you have been so instrumental there in Taos about bringing opportunities for artists to show and sell their work, considering that the Pueblo has been closed, and therefore many people who have their own store or they have no venue. Will you tell us a little bit about how you've managed to help people?
Actually, you know, I had a show back when the pandemic opened in last year, and I gathered as many bigger names from Taos here, and it went good. You know, we had lines out the door. And that's what got me thinking, you know, we're not open yet. The pandemic is still hitting us. So I went shopping and I saved some money from the show, and I rented this place and figured, you know, if I can get the same venue in here, we can keep it going. And I have been, you know, and the Pueblo's still closed. So
Yeah.
it's kind of helping the artists that are still involved with the art, because like I said, the pandemic shut down almost everything, and now some artists have a job now and they don't do their work. So some of them are gone, and
Yeah.
you know, I've searched for some and haven't found. And I'm looking for the newer generation, the younger generation, to, you know, meet them and get them involved with what's going on, because we did quite a few artists.
Show their work.
We have a couple of questions that I wanted to address. So yes, some of the Pueblos are still closed because of COVID. They're looking at reopening, and Taos Pueblo, I believe, is set to reopen pretty soon. There are a lot of different issues, and I don't want to get into people's business, but we get a lot of tourists that ask these questions too. So I want to say, because this is a recording, I want to share that I like to explain to people that the Pueblos and the indigenous peoples are small communities, and it's essential to be as safe as they possibly can. And many of them are also oral languages. And with COVID attacking so virulently the elder populations, if you, with an oral language population of people, if you lose your elders, you lose your culture. So people sometimes get frustrated that the Pueblos are closed. And I think it's really important that we honor and have respect for these small culture. So that's my little soapbox. The necklace behind David. So I need to clarify also that David is at the museum. So I sent him the information so he could be the docent, but I could be the docent as well. Do you want to talk about that necklace, David, or do you want me to share about it?
Oh, I can, if I can find it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see.
It did not
Yeah.
belong to Millicent.
Yeah.
It was a gift to the museum. It's just in the chat. I can share.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. There are 81 pieces of turquoise in silver. It's a squash blossom. And it was made 1955, 1965. And other than the specific donor, which I don't think I need to mention, that's really all we have in the provenance that I can see. I don't know if there's other information.
I don't know much about looking at turquoise and seeing where it's from, but it's really beautiful turquoise. It's dark blue with a nice dark kind of tan brown matrix to it. Beautiful turquoise.
Do you know, Izzy, where it might have been from?
No, I
Too good with the
that
minds.
necklace a lot though. That one I could see it from before all the time. It's so beautiful. But I'm not sure where the turquoise might be from.
Yeah.
And it's big.
It looks like it's Nevada turquoise, but without provenance.
Right. Well, and
Without
that's what I was
knowing.
looking at. I was looking at our record of provenance, and it doesn't say where the turquoise came from. Basically, the information I told you is what it says. It was a gift to the museum, and it was made in 55 to 65. The petals, somebody's asking, the petals are turquoise. They're not silver. I guess it's maybe a little hard to see on this screen.
Yeah, it looks very
Petals are
pale. Yes,
Yeah.
almost like it could be mother of pearl, but it's not. It is turquoise.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
And we have Izzy, we have a request to know about your necklace that you have on.
Oh, this is a Ron Wesley necklace. It's from the store. He shows in the store as well. He's a Tausenyo artist.
Mhm.
And, I'm not sure exactly what this style is called, but it's almost like a chain link, kind of a chainmail look.
Chain rope.
Yeah, chain rope.
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
rope. It has dimension. It's not flat.
Yeah, it's really thick. I like it a lot. It's very heavy.
It's like a snake.
Yeah. It
Oh,
looks
there
like,
we go, David.
Oh, look.
yeah.
You guys didn't know you were going to take a little tour of the museum tonight, did you?
That's great. That's much better.
What's the most common question? How much does it weigh? I don't know. We would have to actually take it out of there. It's not in the paperwork, although I can ask Michelle, but my guess is we would have to weigh it, David.
Is it a picture?
Well,
it weighs-
that other necklace, the one with the great huge pieces,
Oh,
is so
yeah.
heavy that if you put it on, you lean forward because it's pounds.
Yeah, Millicent didn't like that one. It was too heavy for her. She
It's
wore it a
heavy.
couple of times. She loved the necklace, but she couldn't wear it. Yeah, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But she liked heavy jewelry, and there was a story about when she was starting to have tremors in her right arm. She had some stuff going on with her right arm, dealing with her illnesses, and she would wear these really heavy necklaces, but she would somehow figure out how to kind of hook her bra strap into the necklace to stabilize her arm, to keep her right arm from moving around. And I found that very interesting. And so she liked her really heavy necklaces. But
Interesting.
yeah,
Well, she was a tall lady, was she not?
no, she was a little lady. She was quite.
My mistake. I always envision her as a rather tall, willowy person. And so you're saying that she was short.
I think she
She-
was tiny, but she wasn't
she was-
like 5'8" or 5'9".
Yeah, she was petite. She was a petite woman, but she was
Well,
larger
was
than life.
5'9".
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Adam Hayes says she was 5'9". Yes,
Yep.
she.
Well, that's not small.
She was tiny though. Tiny.
Yeah, she was.
21-inch waist.
Yeah.
Well, that is quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
Great.
We'll listen.
I want to know more, if I can transfer back to LeJeune. I want to know more about the beadwork you do. And are the beads the traditional glass trade beads, or are they mostly the precious stone beads that you use?
Well, my beadwork they're glass beads. I use cut beads. A lot of it is cut beads. I use those that, are familiar with the different sizes of beads. I use size 11s, and the smallest I'll use is a 15. I don't go any smaller than that. That's like a tiny, tiny grain there. You go any smaller. But the size 15 is what I use on this whole Thunderbird. Not even 11s. So they're all size 15s. And in order to get the detail of this piece, I had to use, the little tiny beads on it.
And when you make a design like that is of heritage and all, is it really permitted for a non-American Indian to wear this?
Yeah, there's no rule that a non-native can wear it. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, so many times the medallions that you see at powwow or at dancing, of course, they've been handed down or made specially for an occasion.
Yeah, well,
And
something
so-
like that.
Ceremonial.
Yeah, well, something like that. If it's made for, for dancing or the regalias, yeah, then that's made for their own personal use. But our work is designed so that others can enjoy it, to wear them.
Mhm.
What we call wearable art.
Yeah, we call our work wearable art so that other people can enjoy wearing them. Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the greatest privileges that I know, because every time I wear something from my small collection, someone comments. And then, of course, it's my opportunity to tell the story of
Mhm.
from whom I purchased it or how I acquired it.
Yes.
And that passes on more of the verbal history
Yeah.
that is so
And-
important.
Yeah,
And-
and speaking of verbal history, we're teaching our grandsons inlay work
Oh,
Granddaughter.
nice.
and granddaughters too. They saw their brothers learning. The oldest is 15, the
Mhm.
younger brother is 12. And just to show you an example, what the 15-year-old made.
He's 14.
14-year-old, yeah. Christopher is 14. So he made these earrings and he did this inlay pendant. You can see that.
Mhm.
Now, recently, last week, they were, they're trying to get ready for the Indian market as well. And they had several pieces they made. Well, there's a lady from LA. She came down. She likes to buy jewelry from Santo Domingo artists. And she's one of our clients as well. And I mentioned to her about my grandsons working on their own pieces. And so she came by our studio and she bought all of them. So they're going to, I know, my grandsons were so happy. So as soon as she left, they got back to work, started, working on some more pieces. And they're
Well,
going to be in the children's show next weekend at the Palace of the Governors in Santa Fe.
Right. Tell us about where you have an actual studio that people may visit you, or
We
is that
have a
by
studio here
appointment?
in Santo Domingo. We live
And
right on the
Santo
Pueblo.
Domingo open.
No, not yet.
No, okay. I have a couple questions because we need to kind of wrap it up. It's gone by fast. This has been really fun, you guys. Somebody had asked earlier about Izzy's necklace, thinking it was purple, but it's silver is what I think it's just a light, right, Izzy?
It's silver, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's a silver necklace.
it's
Yeah.
the light. And I also want to share, because I didn't get a chance to share this. This is my necklace. This is very interesting to me. I got this from somebody named Rose Bernal from Taos Pueblo. And this is my Cassius clay birds.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah,
Wow, very
beautiful.
Yeah. And then also I have to respond to this comment regarding Millicent's measurements. So 36, 24, 36, right? So here's what I'm thinking. First of all, waist of 24 from the Met from her clothes. I need to research that more because our information is 21, but that's from Searching for Beauty. So that might not be right. But as I'm thinking about this, here's what I'm wondering. Sara, LeJeune, back me up on this. So since when does a woman's waist like stay the same forever, her whole life, that you could say it's 24? Don't we fluctuate a little bit?
Yes.
Well, yes.
Like yesterday, my waist was 22. Today it's 24.
I'm fortunate that I have been very similar in size since high school. But as you so carefully mentioned about a birthday today,
Oh yeah.
I find that I have shrunk down and therefore I don't have nearly as much of a waist as I used to have. So, yeah, but I think that's something that happens to everybody.
Yes.
Especially-
And somebody says
Especially
maybe-
after feast day, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, a chocolate cake and ice cream are
Forget
on the
about the
menu in
waist.
about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
No
I don't know. I just had to put that out there as sort of a little bit of reality. I don't think I'm that unusual. Yeah.
Well, you know, if your waist expands, that means all you have to do is add another concha on the belt. You know, something more art. Why not?
More art. Here we go.
Job security, huh?
Well, folks, that's about it. People were chatting up in the, participating in the discussion. That was really a happy time. I appreciate everybody who has attended doing that. So therefore, there aren't any questions in the chat feature. But if you all want to type in contact information, if you want to do that, your website, you're welcome to do that, or you can just say it right now and people can. Sometimes it's good to say it because then it's on our recording if you want.
Okay.
I'm on the plaza in Taos. You find me at 100 South Plaza, Unit B. So there's my address. Lyle's Creations. I'm sorry. Thank you.
We do have a website. It's very easy, very simple. www.santodomingopueblojewelry.com. And we're on Facebook and Instagram. Just look on Facebook, Joe and LeJeune Chavez, Santo Domingo Pueblo Jewelry, Instagram, LeJeune Chavez.
Thank you.
Okay.
David?
And my wife and I have a website as well as Instagram and Facebook. Her name her jewelry name that she goes by is Gail Golden, and I go by David B. Anderson. And our website is goldenandersonstudios.com.
Thank you. And Lyle, you're on Instagram too, right?
Yes, I'm also on there.
It's
Under
Lyle Wright
Yes,
51.
got 52, I think.
Lyle Wright 52 on Instagram. So again, thank you to our panelists. Such an honor to have you. Thank you, Sarah. Happy birthday, Sarah.
Oh, happy
And
birthday.
Happy birthday.
you all are welcome certainly to come by the museum 7 days a week, 10 to 5, and also our website at www.millicentrogers.org. And Sarah and I will be back next month, still in the planning phases of what we're presenting, but first Thursday for sure. And have a blessed evening. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
privilege. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
You.